Hey TFA Fam, in this episode we are taking a look at our top sleeper options at the running back position. Hi! Welcome back to the Fantasy Authority Podcast, your number one source for fantasy football information all year round. It is April 2019, and yes, we are about to talk about sleeper running backs in April. Come on, you're just as bad for watching it right now as we are for talking about it, so don't judge us. You know who you are. So, I'd like to welcome in boy Kevin Steele at FantasyWrath13 on Twitter and Ryan Williams at RyanAlexander_W. How are we doing tonight, boys? You ready for some sleeper action?
I think I'm ready. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
I could have went through so many guys. There's so many guys right now, and it's only April that I love for this upcoming year that I'm just so excited for, and I'm drafting in best balls and everything. So, we were forced to only talk about one, but I have 10 I could probably rattle off that I'm really excited about. So, I'm excited for this.
As Kev mentioned, we are each going to give you our favorite sleeper as it stands right now in April before the NFL draft. We are recording this about a week and a couple days before the draft happens. We're very excited for that, by the way. Can't wait. So we're going to get into it. One sleeper each. We will give you our honorable mentions, so we'll rattle off a few that we really like, but we just haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And we will actually start with Kev this time because he likes somebody who I don't really like. That's not unusual.
No, so I went back and forth on my guys who I was going to go with, who I want to talk about. I want to talk about Latavius Murray, but in a previous show we kind of talked about him, so I figured, but Latavius Murray is going to be an RB2 this year in fantasy. But I want to talk about my boy Jaylen Samuels. So Jaylen Samuels really kind of popped onto the scene last year once James Conner went down with injury. We didn't really know what to make of him at first. He was kind of a guy that was kind of a hybrid, H-back. He's also, somebody that they thought could play tight end there for Pittsburgh. I'm a little concerned with James Conner, to be honest with you. I do think Jaylen Samuels sees a much bigger role. I know in years past in Pittsburgh offenses, we tend to see more of a workhorse role. But I honestly believe that we see the Steelers, kind of pull the reins back on James Conner a little bit, not give him such a heavy workload. And really, Jaylen Samuels really proved to be a really valuable asset, especially as a pass-catching back and somebody who really can prove to be, could be a true three-down workhorse back as well. So I really like him. I honestly think that we see the Steelers move much more towards a run-heavy offense, become much more balanced, which would really benefit, some other players. So I think Jaylen Samuels is a guy that I really like. I think he's going right now in the 10th, 11th round in draft in PPR leagues. He's somebody I do think that is going to have flex appeal, and somebody that I think that could see the field far more often than most people believe, which is why I have James Conner a little further down. I thought about not even putting James Conner in my top 10, which you can check out, which I also put out, which is also on our site, thefantasyauthority.com. It's right there on our homepage. You can check out our rankings that we have there for half-point PPR. So with Jaylen Samuels, I just think that his upside is so immense, and somebody that I feel like that could really, if an injury happens to James Conner, as a guy who has RB1 upside, and then you also have somebody like that I do think that has some standalone value as well. So I like Jaylen Samuels. I wouldn't be sleeping on him. He's somebody that I'm really going to try to get everywhere.
All right, well, Jaylen Samuel, listen, it's not that I don't like the kid. I just don't know that I've seen enough out of him to say, oh yeah, this guy's going to, take a piece of the workload from Conner. Now, you may be right in that they switch over to more of a run-based offense in Pittsburgh. We all know the drama behind Antonio Brown. We've talked about the drama behind Antonio Brown, so now it's, the Juju Smith-Schuster show. They're going to hope that James Washington develops into something, and they're almost guaranteed to draft another receiver. They did pick up Dante Moncrief, so that's a nice addition for them as well. So keep an eye out for Jaylen Samuel up there in Pittsburgh later on in your drafts. If you're in a typical 16-round draft, you're looking, I don't know, Kev, what, round 13 or 14 you start looking at this guy? Or is he just not draftable yet in redraft, but just keep an eye on him?
Well, since I don't draft kickers because I don't play in any leagues that have kickers, so even 15 would be fine. But I think you probably have to take him a little earlier than that. I think he's going to be a riser, somebody that probably ends up going at least in the 9th round, maybe the 10th round, I think, in drafts. it really is going to depend on what happens with the shakeup with rookies. But yeah, I mean, I think somebody that I would feel confident in taking the 10th, 11th round, 12th round, somewhere around there, as a nice stable back. So somebody that you could have on your bench. It's not somebody I would really touch in standard leagues, but in PPR, half point PPR, I'll be perfectly okay with Jalen Samuels.
Current early ADP for him on the fantasy football calculator is the 10th round, the first pick in the 10th round. That is actually up 2 rounds. I mean, his low is 12th and his high is 8th. So anywhere between rounds 8 to 12, you're looking at Jalen Samuels there. Ryan, why don't you introduce us to your favorite sleeper for the 2019 season?
Yeah, man, I'm so excited for Kenyon Drake this year. I'm just gonna come out the gate and say that's who it is. One, he doesn't have Adam Gase there anymore, who is the absolute woat. Limited this guy's touches. Anthony, I mean, I don't even need to tell you about it because you're a Dolphins fan. I mean, this dude is so talented, and it's a shame that he has gone 3 seasons not being able to reach his full potential because he's just been limited. And it was amazing to me I had a lot of Kenyon Drake shares in fantasy last year, and I would not be watching Dolphins games otherwise. But you see the game, and Frank Gore is out there who's 10 years older than the guy, more than, and getting touches. And you could see that these were, if that had been Kenyon Drake getting those touches, obviously Frank Gore has made a name for himself and he's great, but like Kenyon Drake has the speed out there. And when he was out there being able to utilize his speed, he would have been making these plays that they were just giving the touches to Frank Gore. I don't want to say they were wasted, but like, come on, like this is a young, not rookie, young running back who you're trying to develop, and you're giving his touches to a 30-year-old, running back who's on the decline, and they had nothing to play for towards the end, so that was frustrating. But anyway, I digress. They have Eric Studefield there, who's going to take over the duties there, who's been a great running backs coach wherever he goes. He's coached guys like Wilson McGahee and Marshawn Lynch at the Buffalo Bills. He coached C.J. Anderson in the 2014 season when he was a Pro Bowler, only time he's been a Pro Bowler, and people wanted him to draft him in 15. He also has he also was coaching Tiki Barber as well. So this is a guy who's been around running backs, and he's going to be able to get Drake in there with the new coach that they have. And I feel like just get him into situations where he's going to be able to excel. The other fact is just the reception totals have exponentially increased for Kenyon Drake over the years. I mean, this was a guy who only had 10 targets in his rookie season, and now up that to 73 this past one. 50 targets this past season. So 70 in the past 2. I just love it. He's only 25. Alabama kid. He did well in college. I just love the potential that he has here. That's why he's my sleeper.
One thing they have in common between college and the pros is that no coach has ever wanted to make him a lead back. So there has to be something there that he probably doesn't profile as a lead back. If he doesn't profile as a lead back, and he's not going to be a workhorse back.
He didn't profile as a lead back because of the talent that was around him in Alabama. Now he's going to have a situation.
I know, but even in the pros, he's never been given an opportunity.
He's been limited. He was limited by people who thought Jay Ajayi was a lead back. I mean, that's not his fault, right?
I don't know if he's any good. Like I don't know if Kenyon Drake's any good. Like I haven't really seen much to say that he is. And I would not be surprised whatsoever if they use a 2nd or 3rd round pick on a running back.
They did last year in Kalen Ballage.
Right.
So I do think Kalen Ballage I think he'll be involved in the offense. I don't know much about Ballage. We didn't get to see him a lot last year. I know he's a big running back, which is
he's like Latavius Murray. He really is. He is a straight line. The dude is a big man with exceptional speed for a guy his size. He's an excellent pass catcher. Even in college, he was almost exclusively used as a pass catcher. Didn't get much opportunity as a runner, which is weird because he's a big dude. Like, I mean, he's 6'2", 230, 240 pounds, 230 pounds, I think he is. But I think he ran a 4.4. I mean, the dude's got wheels for a guy his size. But like, even Kalen Ballage is somebody that I would be a little nervous about. I think Kalen Ballage is going to have a role, especially as a pass catcher. And I think during the end of the year, I mean, he had a couple decent games. I know Balaj did when they finally kind of gave him a few opportunities. So, yeah, I'm just not high on Kenyon Drake. But, to each their own. We're going to have to agree, disagree. But I just don't think he's that good. I think he's a jag.
Nine total touchdowns last year, and he was making plays all over the field.
I could tell you one of the number one pain points among Dolphins fans last year was not getting the ball in Drake's hands. I mean, it was a team with limited talent in the first place, and then you're not getting the ball to a guy who is explosive. Now, the frustration with Drake is that, and this was the difference, this is why they started Gore. Drake has a tendency to either break it out or run into the offensive line, whereas Frank Gore was much more consistent. He would get you the 6 to 7. At one point, the one game, he was getting 9 yards a clip. And, Drake will get you 2, 3, 3, 3, 27, 2, 2, 2. So Drake's an inconsistent runner. But I actually like him this year as a sleeper, Ryan. And let me tell you why. Not where his current ADP is. He's being drafted in the 5th round. This guy's going to plummet when everybody else starts drafting. Nobody has expectations for the Dolphins this year, and probably rightfully so. The team is not very well built where it still stands. But as people start drafting, as the I hate to say the common folk, but as the people who don't do draft analysis and don't do fantasy analysis start to draft, they're not going to be looking at Kenyon Drake. They're going to see Miami. He's going to plummet down the boards. If he's in like the 7th or 8th round, I would probably jump all over that. Right now, he's being drafted next to Jordan Howard and James White.
Well, he is better than Jordan Howard, but that's for another topic, I guess.
that's not saying a whole
lot. My weapon of choice for sleeper should come to no surprise to anybody who has listened to this show in the past, and that's Carlos Hyde, now with the Kansas City Chiefs. If you remember a few years ago, we did bold predictions, and I predicted that Hyde in Kyle Shanahan's offense would have a 2,000-yard season. That would be total yards, running.
I'm beating the drum for you, man. I'm beating the drum. I'm beating the drum.
All right. So he didn't get 2,000 yards total, but I think he got like 1,500, and he was an RB1 that season. So last year he was an RB1 with the Browns before they traded him away. Like, they show ponied his ass for 4 games, and then they traded him away to Jacksonville for whatever they could get, and then Jacksonville inevitably just never used him. So Carlos Hyde is back in Kansas City. Everybody's on the Damian Williams train. I've seen that train before. It doesn't work out well. I think Carlos Hyde comes in, takes over that role. And I don't know if he's going to be a lead back. I know that Kansas City, with Kareem Hunt, he was lead back material, but in the past, they've liked to kind of split the carries between backs, especially after Charles went out. So they would split it between, I don't know who the heck your backs were at the time, Kev, but Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware and whoever else was on the roster that was getting carries split. So if Carlos Hyde gets the chance, I think he takes that primary role, 60% of the carries, and he's the guy I would want, and he's the one being drafted second. Like, we haven't talked about yet, but take the guy drafted second.
Well, I mean, it's take whoever's cheapest, right? And so, like, I will say this, like, and I am a Chiefs fan, lifelong, grew up Chiefs fan, whatever. And Damian Williams going in the 2nd round, like, makes me want to almost puke a little bit. Like, there's no way I'll have any Damian Williams on my rosters heading in, this year, just because, like, I don't know if he's that guy. Like, one, the thing is, though, I will say this with this offense. This offense is so damn good with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins and all this talent they have that it kind of would mask anything from a running back because everybody's so focused on the passing game that it creates holes organically that way. And so I'm not saying that Damian Williams, because Damian Williams could finish as an RB1 this year. It's totally in the realm of possibility. This offense is that good. But I do think it is not a bad idea to take Carlos Hyde. There's also this other man named Darrell Williams. They love the Williams there in Kansas City. But Darrell Williams was a rookie running back last year, somebody who I was pretty high on, looked really good in preseason last year. And didn't really get much of an opportunity because of Kareem Hunt. And then once Kareem Hunt got suspended and then released there with the Chiefs, kind of started getting some opportunities. Even had some really high leverage carries in the playoffs. That I think he scored a touchdown in the playoffs. Like somebody that's kind of impressive. He's a really big back, but so he's the other guy that I think some people are starting to talk about. Now, and there's still the possibility they could still draft a running back. Like, I don't know. Like, I still think this backfield is kind of up in the air. Like, they've said right now that Damian Williams, it's his job to lose, what they said. So it's not really like a great vote of confidence for him. Like, so, I mean, Damian Williams is, he is somebody, if you look at his athletic profile, kind of explosive guy. But, like, we've never seen him do it. He never got an opportunity. Now, he was in Miami. Miami is a terrible organization, a terrible franchise.
Whoa,
like, in terms of the way it's
careful.
The way, you cannot sit here and tell me that the Dolphins are a well-ran organization.
I honestly do. I love Stephen Ross. I think he's one of the best owners in the league. So let's move on.
You cannot tell me that you think the Dolphins have been well-ran over the last, 10 years.
He's making
in terms of utilizing assets and collecting assets and everything else. Like they just have not been. Now it looks like I will say this though. It looks like the Dolphins are heading in the right direction. It looks like they're finally figuring it out. They're starting to collect assets. They're starting to really build something here. And I hope that's what they do because. Like, I do think the Dolphins, Miami should be such an easy place to get free agents to come to. Like, it's in Miami. Like, you get to live in Miami. It's not hard to sell the city to get free agents to come there. Yeah. So I hope they are heading in the right direction. That's not really what I was trying to. I wasn't trying to destroy your team. I'm just saying their GM, their building of that franchise has been awful. It looks like they're heading in the right direction. But anyways, Damian Williams is very risky to take him in the second round. So taking Carlos Hyde. I think is a smart move, especially because you're probably going to be able to get.
Being drafted in the 8th rounds in early drafts. We know that means almost nothing at this point in the offseason, but it's a 6th round difference. If it maintains a 6th round difference, I love Carlos Hyde. So some honorable mentions. Kev had Latavius Murray and Deontay Foreman down there in Houston. Ryan has Isaiah Crowell. I have no idea where he even landed, Ryan. Is he in
Raiders?
The Raiders?
Yeah.
He's in Oakland, yeah.
Okay. And I have Darius Geis.
We got nobody else.
The popular rookie from last year who got drafted by Washington and tore his ACL before the season even started. So I think Darius Geis would be a nice sleeper pick as well. That'll do it for this episode of the Fantasy Authority podcast. But before we go, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content. Also, leave us a comment down below. Who is your sleeper candidate of the year at the running back position? Or who's some other sleeper running backs that you're really into that really nobody else seems to be into? Let us know if you like our sleepers or if we're just totally off base as well. Leave those comments down below. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we will see you next time. For Kevin Steele and Ryan Williams, I'm Anthony Pinzone. This has been the Fantasy Authority podcast, top sleeper candidates at the running back position. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, embrace the debate, but have fun with it. Take care, y'all.